we often hear claims from people who want to bring what's called an anti-bullying case against their manager, their employer. The problem with those is there's no discrimination, there's no sexual harassment. It's just the theory that my boss is a jerk, he or she treats me poorly, and I want to sue she or he, right? And that's something that's been in the legislature in New York multiple times. It's always failed. And it's something that has been voted in a couple different states with limited success. And honestly, it's not something I'm a proponent of, because I think the devil is in the details. The language of the statutes really, in my opinion, fails to differentiate between a tough manager and a bully. And how then do we draw that line? And if we're having those litigations, finally this claim that employment attorneys are putting small business out of business, frankly, it could finally come true. We've been around 40 years. We haven't hurt small or medium-sized businesses in any way. We've just made them more diverse. And this anti-bullying statute, my concern is, what will the effect be? What will the fallout be? What will then society think about our discrimination claims that are so important to so many people? And I know that your feelings about the anti-bullying statute really differ from mine.
My thoughts are that, to a certain extent, I am a proponent of them. And certainly, as you said, the devil's in the details in terms of how it would apply within the workplace. But I'm more concerned about the individual with respect to the employee. What they're going through within those environments in which an individual, a manager, a supervisor is treating them like shit, and then pardon my language, I certainly believe that there has to be certain limits and there has to be certain regulation with the way that individuals treat others. Certainly there has to be a fine line with how a manager is going to get and execute and get work done. But at the same time, individuals need to be respected for who they are. They certainly are people, and we aren't in the business of slavery any longer, and we're not looking to hurt anyone. And so when you have individuals who are plainly assholes, and quite frankly, assholes are people that are protected for some reason under the law, the truth is that individuals that are being subjected to such hostility by these individuals suffer immensely. It's like a toxic relationship. They are being abused by these individuals, and it may not be based upon race, gender, or any other discriminatory animus, but it may be just the style of the manager. The way that they are used to treating people to get work done may be so uncivilized that the individual suffers and has lifelong effects, which quite frankly is something that I find unacceptable. There has to be a fine line, there has to be a balance between dealing with individuals who have certain strengths in terms of how they manage their business and how they run the office, and also respecting individuals that are working there. At the end of the day, work is work. Yes, it is a way of life. It is a means to pay the bills. But it doesn't mean that we have to kill ourselves or be knocked down in the process. Everybody has a right to be respected. Everybody has a right to go into work happy and come out happy. There is no need to have an individual treat them horribly on the basis of productivity. That is what I believe. Certainly, as Vince mentioned, these type of laws could affect other laws and impede on how we deal with discrimination cases on a whole. But at the end of the day, the real focus has always been for us is to really focus on the individual. And mental health and emotional related distress and how that affects their mind is something that severely impacts their livelihood. It impacts the family, it impacts the community. And so certainly we're really out to avoid that. So that's my take on it.
And that is very legitimate. What I fear is a backlash. I fear, we have so many strong tools today to help individuals in the workplace, to help victims of discrimination. We have the hostile work environment claim for people who are not necessarily the victim of discrimination, but are receiving essentially psychological warfare in the workplace, right? And I always use the Devil Wears Prada as a bit of an example, right? These equal opportunities workplace monsters who aren't discriminating, they're not targeting on the basis of protected class. They're just a really bad person. And the problem is, it is legal to be a bad person in the workplace. It's just not legal to discriminate. And if you start going over that line, I think they're going to take away our tools. They're going to take away many of the things that we use to help people, and I'm concerned about that.
I think it really becomes an issue on how you view productivity and how you run a business, right? I am of the belief that when you are in a work setting with employees, that a positive environment is the one that caters to the most productivity. When individuals believe in what they're doing, right? I believe that that happens to take out the best results. It invests them in what they're doing. I feel like if you are going to take the role of an individual who is going to punish or really raise fear or instill fear within an employee and bully them and harass them to a point where either they make it or they break, that is something that I find to be unsustainable. And when you're looking at models, and we at the end of the day are a community, and we're looking to develop a strong financial, fiscal model for not only our state, but our whole country. Every little company and group that makes money has a role to play within the overarching country. And if we have businesses that engage and instill fear to their employees, it will pass along into the communities. So I am of the belief that positivity and dealing with situations in a much more civilized way is the way that I would like it to happen. Certainly I respect and understand that that is not everybody's model, and I understand that that is really a utopian idea, but I really believe that if I view it in that way, that perhaps one day it will be that way. So that's my thought on it. Thank you so much, Vince, for joining me today. Certainly, hopefully we'll be together in many more videos to discuss many of the current issues that we are facing as a community, as a country. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Vince or I regarding any situations that may concern you.